My dad's best friend showed up 3 days after the funeral and said, he asked me to give you this when he was gone. My father died on a Tuesday in February. Heart attack. He was 63 years old and had been telling us for years that he was fine, that he didn't need the checkup, that he felt great. He did not feel great. He had known for 8 months. We found that out at the hospital from a doctor who looked uncomfortable delivering information to people who were clearly hearing it for the first time. My mother sat in a plastic chair and didn't say anything for a long time. I stood next to her with my hand on her shoulder and didn't know what to do with the anger that was already starting. He knew. He didn't tell us. He just kept grilling burgers on Sundays and watching football and saying he felt great. The funeral was on Saturday. His best friend Dennis gave a speech. They'd known each other since they were 19 years old, had worked at the same company for 22 years, had gone fishing together every spring since before I was born. Dennis cried more than anyone except my mother. On Tuesday, 3 days later, Dennis came to the house. I answered the door. He was holding an envelope the size of a birthday card, white, sealed, my name on the front in my father's handwriting. He held it out and said, he gave this to me 8 months ago. He asked me to wait until after the funeral. I stood there looking at it. He didn't want you to worry, Dennis said. That was the whole reason. He said he didn't want you to spend those months afraid. My mother appeared behind me. She saw the envelope. She saw Dennis's face. She went white the way people go white when something confirms what they already suspected. Did you know? She asked. Her voice was very quiet. Dennis couldn't answer fast enough. She walked back into the kitchen and sat down at the table and didn't come out for 2 hours. I opened the envelope in the hallway after Dennis left. 4 pages. My father's handwriting, which I had only ever seen on birthday cards and grocery lists. He wrote the way he talked, short sentences, no wasted words. He said he found out in June. He said the doctors gave him a range and the range was not good. He said he made a decision and he knew it wasn't the right one, but it was the one he was making, and he needed me to understand why. I watched your grandfather spend his last year being treated like he was already gone, he wrote. Everyone crying when they thought he couldn't see. Everyone being careful. I didn't want that. I wanted one more normal year. I wanted Sunday dinners where nobody looked at me like they were memorizing my face. He wrote about what he did with those 8 months. He finished the bookcase in the garage he'd been building for 3 years. He took my mother to the coast in September, the trip they'd been postponing since 2018. He drove up to see his sister in Portland, just the two of them, and they sat on her porch for 2 days and talked about things he said they hadn't talked about since they were kids. I'm not asking you to forgive me, he wrote. I'm asking you to understand that I was happy. The last year of my life I was genuinely happy, and that was because of you, all of you. The last page was addressed to me specifically. He said he knew I was the one who would be hardest on him for this. He said that was because I was the most like him. He said the thing about being like him was that I also already knew somewhere that this was the choice he would make. You know me, he wrote, so you know I'm right. I sat on the hallway floor for a long time. He wasn't right. He was wrong. Actually, we deserved to know. We deserved the chance to say things properly. And what he called protecting us was also a little bit protecting himself from watching us grieve before he was gone. But I also knew him. I knew the way he stood in the kitchen making coffee in the morning, not talking, just being present. I knew he had spent 40 years refusing to be a burden to anyone. I folded the letter and put it back in the envelope. My mother was still at the kitchen table. I sat down across from her. We didn't say anything for a while. Then she said, he finished the bookcase. I know. I told him for years that bookcase was never getting done. I know. She looked at the window. Outside, the light was the flat gray color. February gets in the afternoon. He proved me wrong, she said. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a start. Full story on the channel, link below.